everybody, Bennett for the Better Podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. On a Friday, we get together and we have a look at the top 5 things normally to do with Blood Bowl. Now, we are picking up where we left off last week, and we are going to be hitting up the top 5 favoured of teams. I probably should have just put the top 5 chaos teams. We're going to be looking at some of your suggestions. So we put this out in the video last week, so we've got some good comments from you guys to consider. Basically looking at and ranking the top 5 chaos teams based on fun and design and challenge and how good they are. So this will be a list that some of you wildly disagree with, but hopefully I think we've got together and we've got it solved. But ahead of next week, I just want to look at what we're going to be doing then. And we're going to be back to looking at some of the best third-party models out there for Blood Bowl. And we're going to go, and next week we're going to be looking at the top 5 tree men models. Gnomes have just landed. You need some treemen. You need 2 treemen. The Games Workshop ones are actually pretty good, but I think we can do better. So get your suggestions in now for the best treemen models out there. There are some cracker ones. We've used the Ugly Trees, for example. I'm expecting you guys to put that on the list, but next week it's going to be top 5 treemen models. But back to today's video. Okay, so top 5 favoured of teams. Chaos, man. There are some very interesting combinations of players out there, and some very cool star players too. So let's get started with number 5. Number 5, and probably no surprise, Nurgle are 5th on the list of chaos favoured teams. So this does not take anything away from Nurgle. This is not meant to bash Nurgle in any way, shape or form, because they are not only one of the most stylistically investable teams of all the teams in Blood Bowl. Nurgle have the biggest and best, I think, theme, the biggest and best painting challenge. They've just got this icky, gribbly vibe, and every Nurgle team out there, whether it's the Games Workshop one, or the Ugly kind of mushroom one, or the Punga ones, including the circus one, they've just got some of the strongest theme. The team is dripping with theme as much as it is dripping with pus and gribbly bits and random eyes in places. And Nurgle give you a very unique challenge on the tabletop. But that kind of lends to why they are 5th in this roster. They are very challenging, which is its own beautiful thing, right? But the problem with Nurgle is that they are at low team value, and in tournaments they are quite bad. The players are individually very expensive, so fielding a good mash of what you want is challenging. In the 2020 edition of Blood Bowl, the Rotters got boosted down to Ag 4+ as well, which means you've only got the Pestigors with Ag 3+. Everybody else is Ag 4+ at best. And the team is slow, but the team is resilient as heck. Except for the Rotters, who are the opposite of resilient. The core stuff is resilient, and the bash here is brilliant. The reason Nurgle are lowest is because if you want to win with Nurgle, you've got to play real well, which is not a ding on the team, like I said, but Nurgle is one of those teams that people are like, no, Nurgle are amazing at, team value 1500+, like that's when they get cooking. And there aren't that many leagues that play to 1500+. I know you've got the mad lads on the Isle of Wight that have got the TV 2000 teams. The other kind of counterpoint is that when Nurgle get that big and bolshy and just powerful, it starts to be a very different style of Blood Bowl. So Nurgle, they get the top marks, I think, for theme, but the bottom marks for gameplay. The team's lovely. It's a very cool challenge, and it's 5th on the list, but it's still one of the ones that I guarantee if you've ever played Blood Bowl, you're going to look at this team and you're going to go, that looks fun to paint, and I think I could win with it. And that's where it gets you. So for me, Nurgle, number 5. Number 4, it's plain old Chaos, or Chaos Chosen as they're called now. It is just bog standard Chaos. So, favoured of teams are chaos teams. You've got Khorne, you've got Nurgle, you've got Slaanesh, you've got Tzeentch, you've got Undivided, and you've got whatever Chaos Dwarves call themselves. I can't remember. Hat something. Anyway, you've got that, and then you've got just Chaos Warriors from Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and Beastmen as well, and Minotaurs, and that's where this team comes together. I absolutely love Chaos. They are such a cool mix. Beastmen are fantastic players. This team is so much fun in sevens. You've got two main builds in sevens where it's got all four of your strength 4, movement 5, ag 3+ players. Or you've got 2 and a Minotaur. And in 11s, this team has got the best mix of bash and dash kicking around, I think. Say the best mix. It's definitely not the best mix. But what they do have is just, they are just the most potent mid-range team, I think, around. You've got the Beastmen, who are just your everymans. They are your runners. They are your blitzers. Movement 6 is fine. Strength 3 is fine. But when you combine them with horns, it means they're strength 4 on the blitz. They get every skill available, basically. They can be your guard pieces. They can get claw. They can go whatever you want to do. You go mutations heavy. This is where this team gets a lot of fun. You can build up a really powerful running game. You can take the Minotaur and have a cruise missile to make big swingy hits, or you can just drop him off completely and manage your TV to be this really consistent, tight-knit thing. Or you can just YOLO random mutations on the team and have a ton of fun. That's what Milton did in one of his most recent leagues on the Isle of Wight. I think it was just a case of like, I'm going to put a random on everyone who's skills up and it's going to be mad. And it is mad. And that's why Chaos is so much fun. But the thing is with this roster is that vanilla, you get a lot of stuff that you can do a lot of stuff with. I mentioned the Beastmasters. Now, the Warriors are brilliant. Movement 5, Strength 4, and Ag 3+. 5 is a little slow. Strength 4 is wonderful for an Ag 3+ piece, okay? It's not Movement 6 dodge like the Amazon blockers. But these guys come with armor 10. They get all the skill access as well. And it makes them just so powerful. They are, I think, the most iconic blockers in the game. And you come up against a team that's got 4 Chaos blockers, you know, each one of them is going to be really potent. And when you are playing with Chaos, because of the way the team kind of evolves, blockers tend to level a little bit slower than you'd want them to. But Ag 3+, Movement 5 means they are very capable of scoring some touchdowns. They become their own little star players quite quickly. And not only do they become their own little star players, the way Chaos works is they get chosen, they get anointed, they get, you know, raised up to be champions. Every one of these players, it happens to, because you've only got 4 blockers as your positionals and the big guy, it's a little less formulaic. I know you're going to be sitting there going, you're wrong, Ben, because it's block, guard, mighty blow, and all these guys. Yeah, but there's the angle where you take one of them. He's got sure hands. He becomes my primary ball carrier. That guy's got block. That guy, you know, and it just, they are slow brewing to the point where they become really special. And I love the Chaos team. It's got a ton of power. It's lower on the list because it does suffer in tournaments, because it's one of those teams that, similarly to Nurgle, needs some skills to get brewing. Most tournaments are 1100 to 1200 team value with like 4, 6, 8, 12 skills. Chaos need to be kind of 1450 onwards to be in that real miserable death grip. So they don't shine at the lower team values, but it doesn't mean that they are not brilliantly fun and very powerful. And the great thing about Blood Bowl is any team can win on any game. And a Chaos team, regardless of the fact they don't start with sure hands or block or anything like that, they are never, ever, ever a gimme. It is never a free win against Chaos. And they can take a Minotaur. Number 3, it's BT's favourite team. It is Khorne. So they are very similar in design. All of these Chaos teams that we've seen so far have got this similar kind of trait. You've got the lineman, then you've got the Chaos warrior type, and you've got a big guy. In Nurgle, you've got the horrible rotters, then you've got the... God, the bloaters. Bloaters is what they're called now, these Nurgle warriors. And then you've got the rot spawn. In standard Chaos, you've got the beastmen as your lineman. Then you've got the warriors. And then you've got the Minotaur as the big guy. Well, the cool thing is about the god-specific teams like Nurgle, you get the Pestigores, and these guys get the Khorne Gores. And it means you've got that same kind of formula for Chaos, but you get this exceptionally thematic bounce out of it. Now, Khorne joined us not that long ago in the world of Blood Bowl. They are heavily inspired by the Khorne team that preceded them, Demons of Khorne, but This team is so much fun. When it dropped, we knew it would be a ton of fun, and Ben has been playing it almost just without fail in tournaments. So you get Marauder linemen. They are low armor, they are human stats, but they have frenzy. Then you get the Khorne Gors, who are kind of just slightly better beastmen. Then you've got some of my favorite blockers in the game. Okay, I think the Chaos Warrior is technically better, but the Bloodseeker is just wonderful. Strength 4, frenzy. That's it. Armor 10, fantastic. Movement 5, plenty of movement. You get 4 of the meatiest linebackers in the game. They are awesome and they are terrifying. And then you get the Bloodspawn as well, who is just one of the most powerful big guys. Not the most reliable big guy, but definitely one of the most powerful big guys, having claws and mighty blow and strength 5 and frenzy. This team is just all about smashing face and murdering, which is great, and it fits in with the theme beautifully. We've got a frenzy heavy team, and then you've got these Khorne Gors that are in there. You get like what, 2 Khorne Gors on your roster. You might be able to boost it up to 3 as the league goes on. They are your team, and then everyone else is just having a fight around them. Chaos are great fun, but when it comes to just interactions on the pitch, Khorne just pip them to the post. It is a slightly more fragile kind of glass cannon thing, but Khorne is just so much fun to play. And because you're throwing so many dice, because you've got that frenzy, because you've got that strength, they perform quite nicely at lower team values. All you're looking for is a few blocks on anybody and your team starts to cook, and that is a really great thing. So for me, number 3 for frenzy, Khorne. Number 2, it is the Team of Legends. So as of now, Chaos Dwarves are one of the last 3 teams not to have been refreshed by Games Workshop, but they still end up making number 2 on this list. The bottom 3 teams we've got for Chaos are all very similar. Like, they've got a very similar makeup and their playstyle is very different. You've got Nurgle, which is very defensive. You've got, Chaos, which is very mid-range, and you've got Khorne, which is just really offensive and aggressive. Not turbo dash, but just wants to brawl. Then you've got Chaos Dwarf, and Chaos Dwarf, the team is, 1, powerful. It's a good team. It's a tier 1 team. It does well in tournaments and it's powerful at league. It's got a load of good stuff going on for it. So just straight off the bat, this is just a very good team in Blood Bowl. But secondly, this team pays homage to an element of Warhammer Fantasy Battle that was not the biggest, okay? Everyone loves the big hat chorfs from back in the olden days, but they weren't very popular as a team. They were very popular as a meme, and for that, I think they get that theme points. They get that carryover. They get that romance, which is wicked. But the thing that puts them on this list is they're powerful, which is great. They've got a cool theme being chaos, but a different kind of chaos, not just barbarians. This is different. But the makeup of the roster is actually very much unlike anything else in Blood Bowl, which gives you this cool combination of consistency and fragile, which works so well. So, Chaos Dwarfs, God, it's hot in here at the moment. 31.5. Cheers, sunshines. You've got up to 6 Chaos Dwarves, and they are basically just dwarves, dwarf linemen with mutation access, which is just egregious. There you go, got my egregious in for this video. Then you've got muggles. You've got these hobgoblins, and the hobgoblins are 40k, which is cheap. They are vampire thralls. They are just humans with 1 less armor. Okay, so you've got your movement 4 fighty boys, and then you've got your movement 6 lighty boys. That, fair enough. You can be like, well, it's kind of like lizards, where you got combat pieces and the faster pieces, but it's more balanced out. Right, fair enough. Then you've got just something that doesn't exist anywhere else. You've got the bull centaurs, 2 strength 4 movement 6 pieces with edge 4. Sure feet, sprint, weird positional. Bad agility. It's a movement 9 strength 4 blitzer, and you get 2 of them. And you know what? Sometimes you can just take the best Minotaur in the game as well. The enslaved Minotaur for this team has animal savagery instead of unchanneled fury, which you may be thinking, is it better? Well, yeah, it's better, because you put one of these 40k hobgoblins next to next to you know, your Minotaur, and that Minotaur is going to do exactly what you want. It might kill the Hobgoblin on the way, but it will always blitz, which in my book means that you, apart from the fact it's got loner, you are getting rid of a nega trait. So you've got the consistent combat guys, you've got the lighter dash guys, movement 6 is pretty slow. Then you've got these two unique, they're basically just, I don't know, they are unique, which makes them so cool. And you've got the Minotaur, and you don't have to have them. In fact, not a lot of Chaos Dwarf teams will have both Bull Centaurs and the Minotaur because they are quite expensive. But because they do a similar sort of thing in that you can use your Bull Centaur as a heavy blitzer, you don't necessarily have to take the Minotaur. You can take the Minotaur and not take the Bull Centaur, so just take one Bull Centaur, and it creates that really good bit of team building, which we don't always see in a lot of other rosters. So Chorfs for me are very interesting, and I am very intrigued to see what Games Workshop do with them, because they could go a ton of different ways, and really I just think the only way is up. So for me, number 2, Chorfs, very unique. Which brings me to the number 1 on this roster, which will probably surprise none of you, which is the Chaos Renegades team. So they are not as winning, they are not as potent when it comes to the competition standards as Chaos Dwarves, but that's it. Otherwise, they are just a beautiful team. It's chaotic, which I think fits the bill very, very, very nicely. So Khorne have got some heavy hitters and some frenzy. Nurgle have got some resilience, you know. Standard Chaos have got some strength. This team is just wicked. So Chaos Renegades is a bunch of human linemen. 3 big guys out of 4 that you get to choose, and a really interesting mix of positionals. You get a Dark Elf, and a Skaven lineman, and a human thrower, sort of a human thrower. And you get a Goblin who gets 2 heads very, very quickly and becomes this awesome little mutation piece. And you get an Orc to stand there and stand next to the big guys and just treat them in the arts of friendship and how to murder things. And I'm probably missing one of the positionals out here. This is just such a fun team, and of all the teams in Blood Bowl, this is the one where you are playing a mixture of people, a mixture of characters. It doesn't matter which ones you pick, they're going to develop in a sort of unique way. And as this team levels up, your story and your experience will become so different, and it is unlike every team in Blood Bowl. These Chaos rosters are fantastic. They give you such a unique playstyle in every single one of them. But for me, the Renegades one is just this beautiful mixture of just overpowered nonsense and catastrophic failure. Like I said, you can take 3 big guys. You've got the Troll, you've got the Ogre, you've got the Minotaur, but you've also got the Chaos, the Rat Ogre here as well. So you can take 3 of these guys. So you can go Mino and Roger for your big frenzy hits. You always take the Ogre, he's just so reliable. Or, you know, you don't take the Rat Ogre, you don't take the Minotaur, and you take the Troll instead to be on the line. There's a whole multitude of different ways to build the team, let alone how to run the team. And there are going to be those games where your Bonehead Ogre doesn't bonehead and he mighty blows somebody down, and your Minotaur runs over here and murders a dude, and this team can just pound like no other team when it runs right. This team is so much fun because you've got the power and the murder of Khorne mixed in with the hilarity of goblins. And for me, it is one of the top teams in Blood Bowl. It is absolutely not one of the most winning teams, but if you are in it for character development, for a wicked narrative, for ups and downs, this team has it. You've got a Goblin that can take mutations, you've got a Troll and an Ogre that can throw it. So you've got throw teammate, you've got 3 big guys, you've got Elves dodging, you've got Skaven wrestling. You want to kind of give them wrestle. It's just a blank slate. And I don't think there's any, the OWA are close to this, but this just has that wreck face potential that makes it wild. And mutation access just makes it so much fun as well. I love Renegades. I binged Renegades when the Blood Bowl 3 beta came out, and it's just fantastic. And I wholeheartedly think this is the most fun team. You've got a lot of positionals, you've got a lot of big guys, so if you're buying it from Games Workshop, it is the most expensive team, but if you're not buying it from Games Workshop, or you're sculpting it or kit bashing it yourself, it's also the team that gives you the most agency in how it looks. Nurgle, thematic as anything. Such a great painting thing. But if you like models, the Renegades team gives you so much freedom to be like, oh, I want that Minotaur, I want that Ogre, I want that Troll, I want that Skaven, I want that Dark Elf. It's just fantastic. Modelling, it's great. On the pitch, it is a ton of fun. It could be great some days and terrible the next days. And it really is just a very, very, very cool team. So for me, number 1, Chaos Renegades. Okay, so that wraps up top 5 Chaos teams. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree. I didn't include Norse in this one, quite frankly, because I don't know, like, Norse can be Chaos, but they're a bit more old world, and quite frankly, I would have felt upset if I'd put Norse on here and dropped one of the Chaos teams, because we've gone through the top 5 and they were all so unique and they've just got their own brilliant bits that I wouldn't have wanted to miss one out for Norse, which very much has its own identity, and its own identity is not that of a Chaos thing. Its own identity is that of being Blood Bowl Vikings. But next week we're going to be looking at top 5 Treeman models. So go look at your collection, look at what's around, look at what's on your buy list, and let us know what your top models are, because gnomes need trees. It's technically wood elves too, but gnomes, they're big right now, and trees are very much needed. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up because I'm about to die of heat exhaustion. Words by Blood Bowl is good. See you soon. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.